and welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to treat external data. After importing data into SOFI, your PMF input data might have a different time resolution or variable list than your external data. For example, your PMF input data might have a time resolution of half an hour, whereas your external data was recorded in 1 minute resolution. To make sure that everything has the same resolution, you can use the built-in function in SOFI. For this, go to Pre-treatment and then click on this yellow button to treat the external data. In a new window, you can now regrid profiles and time series. Let me first show you for the profiles. For profiles, you have two options. You can either regrid from previously imported reference profiles, or you can download reference profiles directly from our website, from our database, and they're regridded automatically for you. So let me first show you for previously imported reference profiles. First of all, you have to define the variable list of the reference profiles. This should be a text wave with the exact name of each variable. This is needed as SOFI will perform an exact text match between the variables of reference profiles and the PMF input. So only variables that match exactly will be taken into account. In this case, the wave is called number.txt. You now see here all the reference profiles that have the same length as the defined x-axis. You can select here the reference profiles that you would like to regrid and then click on extract, and this will be done automatically. What happened now is that when we imported the data, the reference profiles were here under raw PR, and they could have had any length or variable list. And now they've been processed and regridded, and they put here into reference PR, and now they have the exact same variables as your PMF input. So the other option that we have is that we can download the reference profiles directly from the database. For this, click here from database, and you will see now here a list of all the reference profiles that we have on our website that match the same data type that you selected here under import data. Same here, you can select the reference profiles that we would like to download, and you can use Shift for selecting several or Control to add single profiles. Same as before, you just click here on extract and it will download the data. It will not just only download the data, but it will also compare it to your PMF input. And if you have variables in the PMF input that are not present in the reference profile, you will get this message, and it asks you whether you want to create a missing ion wave for this reference profile. If you want to do so, you can just click yes, and it will automatically create a new missing ion wave for that reference profile. And for the missing ion, it will fill in a fraction of the variable with the maximum intensity, and is by default set to 0.2, but you can change it to any value you'd like. Just press here continue, and this will be done for all the reference profiles. Afterwards, you see that the profiles have been stored under reference PR as well as the others before. What you also see that is that you also have the reference profiles in their original format here under raw PR. Now on to time series. So we have to start very similarly. We first have defined the x-axis, which is telling SOFI what is the time resolution of your external data. I have here different external data. For example, I have here some ACSM species. Since they were measured with the same instrument as my PMF input, they have the exact same time resolution. So this is the most simple. You can just select the species you want to regrid, and since it has the exact same time points, you can just leave it here on the extract option. Then you just click on regrid, and it will regrid the information. Once the time series is regridded, you get to this control window. In this control window, you see your external time series in raw resolution here in this dotted red line. And then you see your regridded external in black to fit the PMF input timestamp. And then you see also hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly averages. Similar as before, we have now what used to be on the raw TS that is now here in reference TS, and then you have the different folders for the different averages. So, for example, I have here some external time series that have a higher time resolution than my PMF input data. So in case I want to regrid that data, I just have to average it. For averaging, we have 3 different options: average, save start time, save middle time, and save end time. This depends on how your PMF input data was collected. For example, I have QACSM data, and the QACSM measures for 30 minutes and then saves the average concentration at the end of those 30 minutes, so I have end time saving. So in this case, I select this kind of averaging and then click here on regrid and wait until Sophie has regridded the data. Similar as before, we get to this sanity check window. What we can see here is that during some time we do not have NOx data available. On the other hand, we also see where we don't have the black line that we have NOx data available, but we do not have any PMF input during that time. There is another thing I would like to highlight. So if you have wind data, normal averaging would lead to wrong averages because you need to transform it first into polar coordinates before averaging. This can be quite tedious if you have to do it manually. So we have a built-in function in Sophie that will take care of it automatically. But since it's hard-coded, you need to make sure that you name your wind speed and wind direction properly. So for your wind direction, you should have wind underline dir, and for your wind velocity, you should have wind underline vel. So in the last case, if you have some external data that has a lower time resolution than your PMF input data, we have an option to interpolate the data. Just make sure when you interpolate the data that the interpolation still makes sense. Here it is the same as with all the data before. You just select which data you want to regrid, click on the regrid button, and wait for the sanity window to pop up. There is one more thing I would like to show you. Sophie only has default units for the PMF inputs from certain instruments, but not for external data. So if no units are provided, Sophie will not show any unit when the external time series are plotted, as you can see here. So instead of just adding the units manually to each plot, you can simply define the units here, for example, degrees Celsius, and it will be automatically added to all the plots. So if we regrid now again, you can see now that the unit is added, and this will also go for all future plots. And this is how you treat external data. Subscribe to our channel to learn about all the functions in Sophie, and thank you for watching. We hope to see you in another tutorial.